All right, we are live on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Hello, everyone. My name is Fernando. I'll be the host of today's meeting here on TNT. TNT is a conversation platform for all levels of speakers of English, French, Italian, and Spanish. And today we're going to talk about languages. It's a topic that everyone here can relate to. Let me explain how it is going to work. This is not a class. I'm not here as a teacher. You are all free to make mistakes. I am free to make mistakes too. Nobody will correct you. There will be no judgments. We just have to follow 3 essential rules, which are be respectful, don't correct anyone, and enjoy it. Have fun. This is the most important of life. And I will share now the questions with you guys. The first part. And the second part. We are in 7, so I will split us into breakout rooms, into rooms, in order to we feel more comfortable with the conversation. And when you have around 10 minutes left to the end of the conversation, I bring you to the main room to wrap up the meeting. All right. Now let me split the room. Oh my gosh. Just a second, guys. Okay, now it's going to work. So if you receive the blue button, please accept it. And see you in a few minutes. Okay, we're here with Robert and Gabriele. Gabi, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, so hello, my name is Gabriele. I'm 31 years old. I'm from Rio Grande do Sul, but 2 years ago I came to Rio de Janeiro, and now I'm living here in this beautiful city. I'm a food engineer, and I work as a scientist and entrepreneur. And my history with language, especially English, I started to study English when I was 19, I think so. And I did it in a traditional school. I had contact with English before the time studying in an English school, because in my, I don't know, but in my formation in like college, not college, I'm not sure about the stages of the process of school, but when I was young, I learned English at school. But when I was 19, I started in an English school, and I stayed there for 6 years. And then, as a scientist, I needed to improve my English skills, especially to write and reading in English, because all the communication in science is in English. And I did it a lot for many years as a scientist, but my English skills, especially communication skills, were forgot because I didn't practice too much during my career, and I didn't have friends to speak in English to improve my conversation skills. So in the last 2 years, I started to change it, like participating more in conferences in English, did some classes, especially focused on conversation skills, and started as a student on TNT, and then as a host on TNT too. I had in the past a short period abroad in Switzerland when I could practice my English skills, speaking every day for 1 week just in English. And nowadays I use English every day, maybe writing or reading or speaking English. I use the base of English. So every day I did it. And you, Robert?
Well, I work. Hello, I am Robert. I live in São Paulo, Praia Grande. It's a South Beach in São Paulo. I'm married. I have 4 daughters. I work with 3D for VR, metaverse, or some things for games. And I use English in my work, of course, because I need to learning sometimes about the new technologies, new softwares, and I need to watch tutorials and read some documents. And I was a course collector. And I am here in TALKNTALK. It's the best place because I turn a key in my mind, and I start to talk. It's amazing when you talk and can do the people's to smile, It's a dream for me.
That's awesome. When you said a course collected, you mean that you took a lot of courses, right?
Yes, I have some Udemy course in others brands.
Yeah, I know what I mean. I know. It's I think it's part of the process. Try a lot of different ways until we find that something like TNT, something about get immersive in the language, but it's a process to figure out that.
Yes.
I think all of us went through this process.
But it's crazy. I have 49, I'm a old guy. But I had this dream, talking English. I'm here. I'm not fluent. I'm not fluent, of course, but sometimes I think, what is fluence? I don't know. If I can explain about my work, my family for you in English, and you understand, I'm fluent. Maybe it's my opinion.
Yeah, we have this question here about what is fluence. It should be interesting. You are with a little bit of delay in your audio, so if we take a while to answer you is because of that. But it's little. Don't worry.
Okay.
It's okay. But we can see that your image is coming before the audio, but it's totally fine. Don't worry. Well, my name is Fernando. I'm 33. I live in Brasilia. I work as an administrative assistant in a government agency in the environment protection area. and I am graduating languages. I started studying English in 2019. Before that, I went through some kind of trauma, I would say, with English. I thought that I would never learn it, but I was trying in the wrong way, I would say, with the wrong method. And since I got in the graduation, I started to study really hard, and I fell in love for the language, and now I'm almost finished my post-graduation. I will take the final test today after this meeting, and I'm very happy about it. So that's it. I really into this universe now. Number 2, do you think the language we speak shape the way we think and perceive the world around us? What are your thoughts about it? Gabi.
It's a difficult question, but I think so. I agree that the language we speak shapes the way we think and perceive the world around us, because language is related to the culture of a country. So I think, I don't know, when I think about English, yeah, I think I have a different opinion, not a different opinion, but a different vision about English and Portuguese. So it's like in Portuguese, I can express myself better than in English. And I think this occurs because this is the first language that I learned. And I live in a country that's speaking Portuguese. But I think if I live in another place and I started to learn, the first language that I learned was English, maybe I had another perspective to the world. And because the language is so related to the culture, how to express yourself, the words that you use during the day to communicate. I think that's it.
Are you the same person in Portuguese and in English?
I don't think so. Maybe nowadays I'm how to say, I think I'm in this nowadays, with the practice in English, I can express myself better than in the past. But maybe in the past I was more a shy person in English than in Portuguese, because sometimes I forgot the words, how to say something, and I stayed quiet. But nowadays, with the practice, I can do this. I can speak, maybe even and I forgot a specific word, and I try to explain in another way. But yeah, this process is it's easier to me nowadays. So I think nowadays but I consider a shy person in English and an extroverted person in Portuguese, because I think it's easy to me to speak in Portuguese and express myself in Portuguese than in English.
That is awesome. That we can be different persons depending regarding all of the language that we speak. Yeah. I totally agree with you. And
another point is that my first contact with English was through the science articles, and all the terms and terminology in science that I use in my work. Sometimes I use difficult words in speaking during the conversation, because it's normal to me, and it's like I have more contact with words, and I use them when I try to speak in English, because it's the vocabulary that I want, that I have. But in Portuguese, I don't use it in my daily life. I just use fun expression, and I speak in a different way,
Yeah, it's like the word that I've just said, regardless. How can I say, the speakers of English, oh my gosh, I forgot the word. The natural speakers of English, I forgot the word. They don't use a lot. They don't use it a lot. And I thought that was normal. So I was talking to a native. I forgot the word native. It happens. A native person, and she said that they don't use it a lot. It's kind of a fancy vocabulary, but I don't know that. I didn't know that. So yeah, it's funny. And you, Robert? Question number 2.
Yes, it's English is very special language, because you can explain in a lot of place of the world about your favorite music. For example, I love bossa nova, and you can explain about this. Of course, sometimes I forget the words, but I can explain. It's so special when you can talk about your culture, about your dreams, about your family, about your parents in English. It's so crazy about your history. It's amazing, man. And of course, when you listen about the other histories, different histories, I love love histories, sad histories. I love.
But do you think that you are a different person when you speak English than
No,
the person
no,
that you
no,
are?
no. It's of course, when I started learning English, it's so hard because I'm a funny guy. I talk with a lot of people, but when I need to talk in my first immersion, oh my gosh, man, it's very hard. I think, hey, what's happening? But I broken this how can I say, obstacle? I don't know. And I'm here. I'm very happy because in immersion I can to talk with different persons, different histories.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, me too. I think that the language that we speak shape the way that we think. I am not the same person speaking English than the person that I am speaking Portuguese. And for me, it's kind of the opposite. Although I don't have a huge vocabulary, but for me, it's easier to speak about feelings, about emotions in English than in Portuguese. Yeah,
Crazy.
it's crazy. It's crazy because I didn't talk a lot about feelings in Portuguese before I start learning English, and I talking about it. I started talking about it to practice English, like in immersions like this, and talking to some native speakers, and so it became more natural for me speak about those things in English. And in Portuguese, I have kind of it's difficult. It's a barrier for me talking about that. I just talk about that with very close people. So in English, it's easier for me.
In
sometimes I don't
Portuguese, in Portuguese, you have much more words to detail your emotions. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's the thing. I cannot detail it in English. I can
Yes,
talk
yeah,
about it, but it's harder to get in details.
yes.
So it's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go to the next one. Would would the world be a better place if everyone speaks the same language, and why? Robert.
No, no, because is exactly this. In your emotions in your language is very special. In Portuguese, bossa nova music is very special in Portuguese. Only in Portuguese. For example, Garota de Ipanema, in English, it's funny for me, you know. Of course, it's beautiful music, but in Portuguese, very beautiful, very beautiful. I love João Gilberto, for example. João Gilberto talk in English? No. João Gilberto born to sing only in Portuguese.
Yeah.
And of course, the other languages have these details, you know. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a lot about culture. Each culture comes from a language. So as you said, bossa nova. It remind me a Billie Eilish song.
Mhm,
Gabi knows
mhm,
that calls Billie Bossa Nova, and it's like um, it's a reference to bossa nova, but it's not 100% bossa nova. It's beautiful. I
mhm.
love the song, but it's not bossa nova totally. And
Uh,
maybe is that's the reason. It's not in
yes,
Portuguese. It's not our thing. So I
you
totally
have
agree.
a feeling. For example, some musician, Chuck Baker,
Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry, and Coltrane, for example, Coltrane is a jazz musician.
Yeah.
Yes, he talk in English. Your life is in English. Your dreams, your future, and this he passed to the music, and you know,
Yeah.
it's different.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And how about you, Gabi? What do you think?
I agree with you guys. I think maybe the world was easier, but not better if everyone speaks the same language, because I think language is a cultural aspect. And one thing that happens when we found someone that speaks the same language as you is the identification. It's like when we are traveling to Brazil and visit different states. We all Brazilian speak the same language, but with different accents. And this is magical because when I found someone who speaks in the same way as me, in Rio Grande do Sul, it's the feeling is that I'm so close to these people. I don't know about about these people, but I don't know what happens. It's like identification, because it's like a part of us in a different place. So I think language provoke the same feeling that you feel when we are in the same country with the same language, but different people speak in a different way. It's like it's a cultural. It's a I don't know, it's magical. It's magical to know that we can, and all of you understand you, all of people understand you, even they speaking the same language, but in a different way. So, and the people that speak with equal than you, it's so magic because it's like this is the feeling of identification with a group, with a specific group of a specific country. So I think that's it. Maybe if all of you speak in the same language, it could be easier, but not better.
Yeah, it should be boring, actually.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. It's amazing. I think that we can find Brazilian people everywhere around the world, and you will relate to them, and you will, oh, that guy's Brazilian, I'm sure, because everyone is, we can identify because of those traces of culture and language. And yeah, I totally agree. And I also think that is a cultural thing, and it's impossible, actually. It would be impossible that we all speak the same language, because the world is a big place. And as you said, even here in Brazil, that we always speak in Portuguese, but it's different. We have some difference. And if you go to Portugal, it's way different. It's the same language, but it's impossible that everyone speaks the same. It would be boring. All right, have you answered, Robert? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. All right, number 4. What do you think about translation in the process of learning a new language? Should we force ourselves to think in the target language? And if so, how can we do that? What do you think, Robert?
It's part of the process, you know. I use, for example, I use different ways to record in my mind when I need to learn English, or in my work, subjects in my work, you know. But translate, it's part. I have Kindle, you know. Kindle. I read books in English, of course. When I don't know words, I translate in real time. It's part, of course. It's good because you read it once and you record in your mind this word, and you see twice, 3 times in the book. You record in your mind. It's part of the process. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I put this question because some methods, some teachers say that we should think in English, start thinking in English when we are learning a language.
Yes.
And sometimes we ask ourselves, should I force myself to think in that target language, or it's impossible?
Yes. I have kids here, and my old daughter, I talk in English, and of course she have 12 and love in English, you know. And I train my English, and she train your English, you know.
Yeah.
It's funny, but it's a good way.
Yeah. And you, Gabi, what do you think? Should we force ourselves, stop translating?
No, I agree with Robert. I think it's a part of the process to learn a new language. And I think when we have a barrier like don't translate, we block it. It's like we need to. It's like it's a feeling that I needed to know the meaning of this word in English to speak better. But this is a wrong thought, because here in the immersion sometimes we forgot the words in English, and sometimes we talk the word, we speak the word in Portuguese, or we try to talk in a different way to explain the same thing about the word that we forgot. So I think both strategies are good when we are learning English. And if you stay in an environment that prohibits you to speak in Portuguese, I think this is not good, because sometimes we are a shy person. We are so beginner in a language, and you don't know how to explain in English in a different way. So it's necessary to translate. And during the process of learning a different language, we use less translator than in the past. So I think nowadays it's so difficult. It's so difficult to translate a word for me, but because I try to understand the word in the context. But sometimes when I read something that are with a different words that not part of my vocabulary, I translate some of the words and I learn new words. So I think it's a part of the process.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you. It's a part of the process. And actually, I said in the beginning that I was traumatized with English for a while, and it was because of that. Because I had a teacher in my teenagerhood that he said that I should think in English, stop translating, just speak in English. And he said that for all the students. And I thought, how can I do, what the hell? How can I do that? It's impossible, because some teachers say this for us, but they don't say, how can you do that? Because it's impossible. In my opinion, it's a natural way. Once you learn the first language, you will never stop translating. It's automatical, but then when you practice, you start. You will not notice that you are translating. It's like when you are driving in a car. After you practice a lot, you will not notice that you are doing all those processes with the car. It's natural. It seems that the car is taking you to where you want to go. So yeah, I totally think that's a natural process, and we should not try to avoid it.
I think, for example, if you can travel alone and use your English, your different ways to learning, it's okay. It's good. It's correct.
Yeah, and you should use the mother tongue as a friend, not as an enemy. It's okay. We are Brazilians. All right, let's go to the next one. Time is running by so quickly. So, how important is immersion when learning a language? Gabi.
I think it's so important to create an environment that you can immerse in this environment and learning a new language. I remember when I studied English for the first time in a traditional school. I didn't do it. I just went to the school 2 times per week and finished. So when I started to create environments that simulate an immersion to me. I think all my learning process improved. So, and when I tried to study the third language that I try to speak, I don't speak too much, but French. 2 years ago, I did a course in French, and during one year, I created an environment in French. Like I studied 1 hour every day. I listened music in French. I saw movies in English. I read news in English. I did a lot of things. Sorry, English, no, French. I did a lot of things in French to create an environment to me, because I'm not in a country that speaks French, and I was in a learning process. So at the end of this year, I learned a lot of French. I could stay with other people speaking in French, and maybe it was not capable if I didn't do it. So in English, it was the same. I created the immersion environment, and I participate more in conversations like like this one. And I think that it was so important to improve not only the vocabulary and how to talk in English, but also to lose the feeling that, oh, I'm not capable to speak in English. My English is so weird. Like these limitations, I think when we try to speak and create an environment to practice in a new language, I have to say, I forgot the word, but we don't have this type of barriers, you know.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's true. It makes total difference, because it's good that we study grammar, study vocabulary, all those things. It's important. It's okay, especially in the beginning. But then once you have the basic vocabulary, the basic grammar structure, I mean, the really basic, start speaking, or you are wasting time, because practice makes total difference. And you, Robert, what do you think about immersions?
It's very important. I love immersions. I love all facilitators here. It's very important because, of course, it's very important study other things in English, other subjects, but talking is most important for me, of course, because I write and read about English, but talking, you need to practice this. And I love immersions. My first immersion, I never forget, because I was very nervous, very shy, you know. But this moment, this day, broken a big wall in my way, you know. Of course, I know I need to learn grammar, you know, a lot of things. But talking is special for me. When you have different histories, I say that here, different histories, and you can talk about your life, about my kids. It's special. I love.
Yeah, I agree. I think communication it's the goal, right? Why do we learn a language? To communicate.
Yes.
So if we don't do that, we don't practice that, we are doing for nothing. That doesn't make any sense. So I totally agree. The most important part is talking, is speaking,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's all about connecting and sharing and listening.
Yes.
Yeah, that's make total sense. In your opinion, what impact does age have on learning a new language, Gabi?
Well, maybe when we are young, we don't feel this sensation like to speak wrong. We don't have this type of barriers like to speak wrong or to be judgment and to be judged. And we don't feel afraid to make mistakes in a learning process, because it's like a fun activity. It's like to joy, to play something. It's to learn a different language. I saw I don't know how to say in English, but I don't have kids, but my cousin have one, and she talks in English, and she has only 5 years, and sometimes she talk with some wrong words, and sometimes she speaks perfectly, but she don't care about it. She just speak, and that's it. And when we are older, I think we feel this sensation like, oh my God, if I don't speak well, could the others understand me or no? And I think this is the thing that changed. I think both are capable of learning a new language. I think when we are older, we realize the importance of learning a new language, the importance to study grammar and do conversation classes, both. But we are more intimidated to make mistakes, and we are afraid to take risks in another language. But when we are younger, we don't feel like that.
Yeah, I think children are way more brave than us. They don't fear making mistakes. That's true. And you, Robert?
It's crazy. I have different ages in my house, 12, 10, and 6. It's crazy because the kids think very fast and learning very fast, It's crazy. My caçula is very smart and like to talk in English, love learning different things in English, different words, and record much better. It's perfect. When you think, oh my gosh, why I don't start to learn English when I am a kid, But it's the age is very important. If you have kids, start when you is younger is very important.
Yeah, I think it's different, of course.
Yes.
So when you are, because when you are a kid, your brain, you are in this phase of observing things. So you observe
Yes.
everything, every single word.
Yes.
But the pros of learning when you are an adult is because you already know a lot of things. So you know how the structures work. It's a different kind of learning, but you're learning as well as you are a kid.
Yeah.
But it's different, of course.
Yes.
Hello.
When you is a old guy like me, you have different ways to learning, and it's so special. I love it because it is not boring.
Yeah, we use our experiences to help
Yes.
us, and this is great.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Everyone is back. Sarah, how was the conversation for you?
So insightful. I think it was like a history class. The questions, the development about the conversation, really nice.
Also, let me ask you something. Number 11, what advice can you give to a new language learner?
Maybe don't wait so much to start speaking, because if you wanna have all the grammar rules, if you wanna master everything, you're gonna wait for a long time, and it's never gonna be enough. So just start, make your mistakes, and then you find out how to correct them and how to improve, of course.
Yeah, it's exactly what we're saying here. Don't wait everything to be perfect for you to start, because it doesn't make any sense. You have to start them improving. Yeah, I totally agree. And how about you, Wanda? How was the conversation for you?
Yeah, it was a really good conversation. I learned so much about the subject, many things, many questions I never thought about, and so good to put in the shallow for think about.
And let me ask you, you have been to Thailand recently, isn't it?
Indonesia.
Indonesia, yeah, sorry. So question number 10, how much of a barrier do you think language is when you are in a foreign country?
Yeah, it's a barrier. If you want to talk and get a conversation, is a little bit difficult, but we can jump this barrier with a smile, with a gesture, and everything gonna be okay when you get travel.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
Wanda is carioca.
Yeah.
I'm a diver woman.
That's awesome, guys. Well, I love the conversation. I hope you all have enjoyed as well. And I will send the link for the survey. And please share your thoughts, that rate the conversation from 1 to 10. And that's it. I hope to see you not next week, because I will take some time off, because I will need some time off to solve some things, but I will be back soon, and I hope to see you all. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.